how do I lose weight? I've been struggling forever. What can I do? What are the tips? I'm so lost. Ileka, please help me. All right, so let's chat about it. How to lose weight, my top tips. Hey guys, I'm Ileka. I'm a mom of 4 who lost 120 pounds through the ketogenic diet, exercise, and mindset changes. Now I've helped thousands of women do the same thing through my health and fitness programs. Right now, you can actually go to my website and download my free ebook on how to start your weight loss journey and keep it all for good. All right, so let's get into it. So here's the thing. I tell you guys all the time, this is like my main thing for starting your journey. The first thing is finding your why. What is that thing that's gonna get you going, get you started, and keep you on your journey for the long haul, right? What's that thing that's going to push you when you wanna give up? For me, it was my kids, and mainly my daughter, right? And I always say that, I mean, I love my sons. I have 4 kids, like I mentioned, 3 boys and a girl, right? And so love my sons, love my daughter, love all my kids the same. Gotta put that out there. But here's the thing, right? My sons, that wasn't necessarily my push. And the reason is they could mimic my husband, right? We all know my husband's in great shape and has always been in great shape. So my sons had him to look at, right? But now when my baby girl was born, it was just me. She had, I knew that I would be the person that she would look at for how she eats, what beauty looks like, all those different things. And I wanted to change that. I wanted to show her a healthier me, right? I also wanted to show her a mom that would be around. I wanted to be the mom that she would want to be. I know that might sound like a lot, but for me, that's what was important, right? So that was my why. I needed to change because I needed her. I didn't want her 30 years later to not feel good about herself, to look in the mirror and not love what she saw, right? I wanted to show self-love, but at the same time, I wanted to show health. I didn't want her 30 years later to be tiptoeing into the doctor's office nervous that they're gonna say she had high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, all those things. So I needed to make sure that I was healthy so she knew about health and that I set that example of good health. So that was my why. But here's the thing. Your why doesn't have to be your kids or anything. Your why could just be you, that you want to feel better, that you want to feel healthier, that you want to go into a boutique and try on anything that they have and know confidently that you'll be able to fit whatever's in that store. Like that may be your why, but whatever it is, you've got to ensure that that why is going to be strong enough that it will push you to keep going. Okay, so wanted to start that out. So that is important, finding your why. That's number 1. All right, so now that we are talking about, we've got started, right? And we're gonna keep going, we wanna quit, right? Because we found our why. Now number 2 is, you gotta look at nutrition, okay? What are you eating? Why are you eating it? I'm gonna look at this in 2 different ways, right? When I talk about nutrition, I'm also gonna include mindset. We have to look at nutrition and the way that we look at food, the way that our relationship is with food, right? Why are we eating? Does it have to do with emotions? Are we an emotional eater, stress eater, right? Just an overeater altogether, right? Or when it comes to nutrition, are we eating just all the wrong things, right? So I found that for me in my situation, many of my clients, it's not necessarily eating the wrong things, right? We were actually those people who were eating organic and eating, kind of trying to stick lower carbs as much as possible, and then we would have those emotional eating moments where it's like, oh, I just need to eat because I need to soothe something. Or we'd have those emotional moments where it was just, I'm overstressed, so I'm eating. Or it'd be habitual. I'm going to the movies, so I have to eat this entire bucket of popcorn because that's just what we do at movies, right? So it's those things, like what are we connecting with food and why, right? So that is so important, understanding that and getting to the root cause of that, right? And that's something that we work on in my program. It's so important, getting to the root cause and understanding the mindset around eating, right? And understanding your relationship with food. But also, I guess part 2B, right? 2B would be the types of foods, right? like I mentioned, I wasn't someone who necessarily ate a bunch of the bad foods. Even my brownies were like flaxseed brownies, right? So I was that person. Everything's gluten-free, organic, all that. But I was eating habitually and emotionally and overeating at times. So I was that person who was always getting seconds and that sort of thing. Now, but let's also talk about the right types of food versus the wrong types of food. So what we should be reducing. Now, we all know that I'm a keto gal, right? I love keto, I love low carb, that's what I like, right? And some people love portion control, and that's okay too. But here's the thing, whether you're keto, low carb, or doing portion control, you gotta rid of the refined foods, right? All the refined, overly processed things. So honestly, the pantry should be close to bare, right? Right? We wanna be like, Mother Hubbard with the cupboard that's bare, right? Like, we literally should have I know some people don't know that nursery rhyme. Anyway, we literally should have more foods in our refrigerator that need to be fresh than foods in our pantry that we can just go to. So that means ridding of the chips. That means ridding of the noodle products and all those different things that we keep in our pantry, right? The candy, you know, all those kind of go-through snacks. The popcorn. The popcorn is a major go-to snack, right? We want to rid of all of those things because that is going to keep you going on your journey, and that is what's going to help when it comes to nutrition, right? You'll see drastic changes in your health and fitness when you remove the processed foods, right? I noticed that myself because when I went from eating horribly, right, overly processed foods to removing the processed foods but not removing the amounts, right? The portion control, because that goes into it too, right? So again, it's going to be about changing the way that we look at food, changing the mindset around food and the relationship. It's going to be about the types of foods, removing processed, refined foods, white carbs, white foods, right? And then it's going to be about portion control, watching the portions that we take in. We don't need to get seconds. We don't need huge plates of food. And watching what what our plates look like, you know, more of the vegetables and the proteins, less of the heavier carbs, right? So thinking about that, and that is step number 2, all right? Step number 3 is about when we eat the food, right? So everyone talks about intermittent fasting, and I love intermittent fasting, but maybe it's not for you, right? But here's the thing. Maybe the kind that you hear all the time isn't for you. Everyone hears about the 16/8, right? Where we fast for 16 hours a day and we eat during an 8-hour window, right? That's great with intermittent fasting, and I love that, right? Because the 16 hours gives your body time to process the foods. It gives us time for autophagy, where our cells regenerate and our body begins to come back to where it needs to be, right? It begins to reset, right? So that is great. But here's the thing, not everybody's ready for an 8-16 or a 16-8, right? Some people need to start slower. And so that might mean a 12-12. That may mean that you eat during a 12-hour window and you fast during a 12-hour window. Whatever that means for you, or it may mean fasting one day each week for a full day. And that's fine too, but whatever that is for you, you want to commit to it and go for it, right? But here's the thing. Here's what's actually really important when it comes to fasting, and here's how you can take advantage of your fast the best. That's going to be to stop eating at least 3 hours before going to bed. That's what's important, right? That becomes very important. The reason that's important is because when we eat late, our body, and we go to sleep, now our body is stuck processing that food while we're sleeping, as opposed to being able to process everything we've done during the day. That's why our biggest meals should be in the morning or earlier in the day. So then during the day, we've got the time to process those meals. We've got time to work off that energy, work off the food, right? And then our body gets to relax at night and continue to work, obviously. But now it gets into autophagy. Now it gets to work on cell regeneration. It gets to work on resetting our body, all those things, as opposed to working on digesting the food that we just ate right before bed, right? So that's why it becomes so important. That's why you'll see some people where, honestly, and this sounds crazy, where you go to bed one weight, right? And you wake up 3 pounds lighter, 4 pounds lighter, 5 pounds lighter, whatever it is. The reason is because the body had a chance to really process what it needs to do, right? As opposed to digesting at that time. So that's why we want to ensure that at least 3 hours before bed, that's when you stop eating, okay? And that's gonna be important for the body. It's gonna be important for you. You're gonna feel better. It's gonna cause less bloating, less cramping, less discomfort, right? It could even help with acid reflux, all these different things, because your body gets a chance, right? So stop eating 3 hours before. And again, we talk about all of this in our membership program. It's awesome, I'm telling you. And ladies are getting major results. Step 4, my favorite step, fat burning workouts. Here's the thing. We see all these people and they're out here like, yeah, I lost weight, you know, and I did tons of cardio and I ran every day and I did this and I did that. And that's great. You know, I'm so proud. I'm so happy they lost the weight. Or I walked every day and I lost the weight. I'm so proud of you, and that's awesome, right? But we want to lose the weight and we want to tone at the same time. We want to shrink that waistline. We want to keep that behind, right? So we want those major things to be happening while we're losing the weight. And so in order to make that happen, we've got to be getting those fat burning workouts in, you know. And I've talked about this before, how I have good friends who also lost weight on keto while I was losing weight on keto. And at the end, right, they actually, some of them lost even more than me. And so they lost all this weight and, you know, were so proud, but they had tons and tons of loose skin and tons of like, just that extra hanging kind of fat and skin, right? That they wanted to get rid of. Many of them had to get surgeries to get rid of it and things like that, right? Whereas me, I didn't have that. I didn't have the loose skin in my arms, didn't have it in my stomach, other than the C-section thing, which we've talked about in previous videos. For C-sections, there's this thing, right? But outside of that, I've been able to get the abs up top, right? And then also I kept, you know, the booty, I kept it all, right? So you can keep curves when you lose the weight, right? You can keep your curves, you can tone your body. That is so important for a lot of us women. We want to keep our bodies, right? We don't want to look like we're 12 years old and be fully old, like, you know, a rail, you know? And so one of the things that really works is the fat burning workouts that I put together. And so in our fat burning workouts, we make sure that we're mixing weights and cardio, but we're doing it in a strategic way to truly see results. And so that's going to be really important on this journey, right? And using what you have at home, or getting really cheap things that help out in the journey in big ways, right? That's what I tell my members, because we all want to make sure that we're getting these results, but maybe we don't want to have a full set of 70 dumbbells, you know, laying around in our living room or whatever, right? So we have other options where we can do this and still see major results, still get the strength training and resistance training in. That's what's going to be important. So the fat burning workouts is what's going to keep your curves, right? It's what's going to keep our curves and really help us see major results in inches lost. Now, tip number 5 that helps so much. This, to me, this is actually one of the most important ones. Mindset, obviously, is, you know, that's probably the most important, because that's going to keep the weight off for good. It's going to help you on the journey. It's going to ensure that you don't go all the way back, because we always hear about people, and we all know some people who lost the weight and then maybe lost 100 pounds, 120 pounds, whatever, and then they gained it all back. And my heart always breaks for those women. And I actually have helped a lot of those women to lose it again and keep it off. Because the thing is, like, it's one thing to gain back 20 pounds, even 30 pounds after you've lost 120, and then say, oh shoot, trigger off, I gotta get back, right? But when you've gained it all back, it's really defeating. And I've talked to so many women, and they are, and it breaks my heart, honestly, to see it. And because I know that what's happened is, when the weight was coming off, those mindset changes weren't happening. And that's so important in that process, right? So, but that was in tip number 2. So let's talk about tip number 5. And this is gonna be about, and again, I said this is like the second in terms of importance. It's gonna be about getting the education that you need and having the accountability to stick to it, right? So let's talk first about education. So what I did was, I spent hours and hours, and I've talked about this before. I read white papers, I read books, I watched tons of videos, I did everything, right? I did all the things. But not everybody has time for that, you know? Like, I literally was like up till 3 a.m. Not everybody wants to live that life. So if you need the help on education, understanding how keto works, or understanding how weight loss as a whole works, reach out to me. We can get you some things to get you started on your journey, right? Or you can actually even go to my website and download these tips, right, to get started. But get that education on how to eat, right, on how to exercise, things like that. That's going to teach you how to fish, right? When I work with the women in my program, I always say I'm trying to work myself out of a job, right? That is my purpose. and it goes back to my previous life too, when I was in process improvement. We always said we don't want to work ourselves out of a job, right? Because I want to improve your process so much to where you can just do it and you don't need me anymore. And it's the same thing with weight loss. I want to improve your process so much. I want to get you into the situation where you don't need a coach anymore because you know exactly what you're doing. You know, so I want to teach you. I want to ensure that you have what you need in terms of the education piece, right? It's so important. And so I've set up a whole program to help folks really get the knowledge that they need so that they can build their own meal plans, so that they can, because who wants to be 90 years old still getting meal plans from someone, right? So I want you to be able to build your own meal plan. I want you to be able to understand what keto is, why it works, how it works, the benefits of it, how to do keto in different stages and ages in life, which people do not understand that it's different depending on where you are in life, right? I want you to understand that. And not just keto, also low carb, right? Or lower carb, you know, to understand how that works and how that can work for you and still see results. So that is the education piece. Now let's talk accountability piece. So everyone's like, oh, I need an accountability partner. I need an accountability partner, right? And so then they get their best friend and they're like, girl, we're gonna do this. We're about to lose weight together. I did that. Me and my best friend, we were like, oh, we're gonna do this. We're gonna lose weight together, right? 2 weeks in, and actually I got 3 best friends. I got 3 best friends. We were all doing it together. You couldn't tell us anything. I was so proud. We were so excited, right? 2 weeks in, we were still going hard. Can't tell us anything. We got this. Oh shoot, we're seeing results, right? 3 weeks in, 4 weeks in, it was just me by myself. And so here's the thing. What happened is everybody else fell off. Busy at work, whatever it was, they fell off. And so now it was just me struggling, trying to push myself to keep going, right? And I fell off too. You know, that was a while ago. That was before I actually became successful fully in my journey, right? But I fell off because my friends fell off. I realized you need an accountability group of people and someone leading the way, right? Because guess what? The person leading the way, they're not gonna fall off. They're gonna keep pushing you. But here's the other thing, that group, if I've got a group of 30, 50, 100 women who have my back, who are supporting me, then guess what? If 3 of them decide that, oh shoot, I've gotten too busy at work, I've fallen off, you know what? The other 97 are still there. So it's like, it's not just having those 3 friends there, it's having a group of friends. And within that group, you're building relationships with people and you're all pushing each other. We help each other, we push each other to stay accountable. It's like, hey, hold up, I haven't seen Kim in a while. Kim, where are you? What are you doing? And Kim's like, oh girl, you know what? I went on vacation. I was working out on vacation, I just didn't post it. So now Kim is showing that she was still going because Kim knew that after 3 days, when no one saw her in the group, people were gonna start asking about her and reaching out to her personally. And that's the thing, that's how these things work. That's how we keep each other accountable and keep it going, right? So you need that accountability. So those are my 5 top tips on how to lose weight and keep it off for good. Remember, you're gonna find your why. It's the things that can get you going and push you when you wanna give up. Number 2, you're going to really pay attention to your nutrition, right? Whatever that is. And understand your relationship with food around that, right? How to change your mindset, how to get that going so you can lose the weight and keep it off for good. And remember, you can download my top tips on my website, lifehealthnow.com, but also check out what we're doing and how we're changing lives. And of course, get rid of the refined stuff, right? So that's number 2. Number 3, it's gonna be about when you eat, right? Folks always think that intermittent fasting happens in the morning, like you can't start eating till noon. That's not the case necessarily. You can start eating at 8 and still be fine, as long as you stop eating at a certain time before you go to sleep. That's what's more important. So start thinking about that. Stop eating at least 3 hours before you go to bed. Number 4, fat burning workouts. Anyone can lose the weight, but here's the thing, part of keeping it off also is the fat burning workouts. Because when you're building that strength, muscle burns fat. And as you're building that strength to burn that fat, girl, I'm telling you, I'm telling you, even when you eat a little off plan, you got that muscle there that's burning that fat off. So you're still killing it. I've got 2 pictures where I was at 230 pounds, and one was flabby and you could see like it could be crazy. The other one was muscular and strong and nobody could tell me anything. Same weight, you know? And that's the thing. It's gonna be about building that body that you want. And number 5, get the help, the education, and the accountability you need to lose the weight and keep it off for good. So go ahead to my website and download my free ebook, How to Lose Weight and Keep It Off, all right? It's at lifehealthnow.com. We got this, ladies. I wanna see you be successful, all right? Go ahead and follow me on Instagram, Keto Mommy Makeover. You'll see all the information here below. And even on LinkedIn, that's a really cool spot for me right now. I'm also doing a lot of Clubhouse these days, all right? So I'll talk to you soon. Don't forget to subscribe. Take care.
Don't forget to subscribe. Be sure to watch my mom's next video.
Oh, okay.